this works here. All right, just got on here. I apologize for the delay. Had a few crazy things happen. I got blocked into a driveway when I was ready to leave. Unbelievable. Uh, okay, let's see. It looks like the mic's working based on the video setup here. I can't put my sound on or I'll end up hearing myself talk. I'm just going to adjust this camera. Maybe a little bit like that. Okay. This was taking forever to get set up today. So let me just grab my notes. Let's see here. Oh, shoot. Where did that go? Let's see. Welcome to live chat. Okay, we got that going there. And we should be live streaming right now. Now, we're talking about the missing sub tonight. They still haven't found the sub or had anything major happen at this moment. And it's coming up on 10:12 p.m. right now. Today, I heard there's been some noises detected underwater. They think that what's going on, well, here's the problem. Earlier this morning, people were saying the noises that were being heard, experts were saying, well, they probably set up a system where every half hour or so they would bang on the inside of the hull, and that would transmit sound waves for rescuers to listen to try to find them, to hone in on where those are coming from. So this morning it was off to a encouraging start, and it looked like maybe they had found this thing, and it was a matter of just locating where these noises were coming from, and then that would at least give the damn submersible that the Navy was sending over a chance. As soon as it got there, they could send the submersible right down in the area that the microphone, if they could fine tune it with the microphone to find out where these noises are coming from. Now, the strange thing is, this morning they were saying it was every 30 minutes they heard a banging noise with their sonar microphones. Then this afternoon, a little bit later in the day, I heard that the interval, instead of 30 minutes, it was happening every 38 minutes, something around there. Now, that's a little strange. I mean, if somebody had a watch on board, if they were able to bang on the hull, all they would need is a digital watch, and they could check possibly even if it had like maybe, unless they had a problem with their watch battery, they should be able to check and keep the interval right at the 30-minute mark that they bang on the hull, because if it's not like a consistent signal, then we don't know if that's really humans that are banging on, making that noise. I mean, there's other noises under the water, and unfortunately, I just heard before I started the live cast, I heard that the noises might be from the wreck of the Titanic itself. they said the wreckage may be settling a little bit, and at different times it may create a noise, or as things creak, or if you have ocean currents going by it that are possibly putting pressure on parts of the wreckage. So now that we don't know what to think now. It seemed like encouragement this morning. Um, so this thing is recording, and this will be on tomorrow's video feed in case you missed it tonight. And I've just found a lesson out with this live streaming. I was going to do it on my phone, and for whatever reason, because I had set the stream up on the computer, I went on my phone and I couldn't get the stream to start. This live cast, it's very strange. So that kind of messed things up right there. I wanted to do more with the graphics and everything. So yeah, at the depths they're at, you're talking about total darkness, and this whole thing is like a real unbelievable story, how this whole thing came about. And as I said in the video the other day, that when I first heard about it, I almost couldn't believe it, that there were private tours going down in this submersible craft all the way down to the Titanic, 12,000 feet below the surface. I never heard about it being anything like this being available. Of course, it's only for people that have the right amount of money to spend on such expedition. But other things like that space expedition where they had the companies Virgin Galactic and the Blue Origin, that was all over the media, so everyone knew about that. This Titanic deep water sub stuff, very what you would call obscure. I didn't even hear about this. I didn't know about it. And I was amazed when I found out what they were doing, what kind of craft they were going down in. This craft, as we were talking last night, this craft is so small, about 22 feet long. The back of the craft is unmanned and contains oxygen tanks and electronics. It's powered by 4 electric thrusters. And then the people, they're in the front of the craft, and they're sitting on the floor of the craft. There are no seats. So 5 guys have to kind of cram in, sitting with their legs crossed on the floor of the craft for the voyage, which would normally take about 8 hours. And as I showed last night, it's run by essentially a video game controller. With what they look like they did is they just extended these 2 controllers here, and then one of them is responsible for like raising and lowering the sub, and the other one you can move the sub around. It runs over Wi-Fi or Bluetooth, according to the company founder or CEO. Stockton Rush is his name. So they have several of those controllers aboard the sub, as a matter of redundancy in case one broke. And today there's been a lot of talk. There's been criticisms or people questioning how well this craft was actually put together or built. From what I heard, the company spokespeople were saying things along the lines of a lot of the systems, such as like using the video game controller and some of the electronics and stuff on board, were things that were not really, they were like adapted to be used for this, to be used in a submersible. But they claim that the hull itself is designed with NASA, and it was supposed to be a good design. There's been other rumors that the workers for the company thought that the sub wasn't 100% safe, as far as the hull. One of the guys on here at design, they interviewed, I should say, a professor. He said the hull has to remain perfectly circular in order to stay strong. If there's some kind of a change in the shape of that hull, like one part of it doesn't remain perfectly circular, that's going to make the hull weak and could possibly lead to it collapsing. That's the only thing. The way it's built, it relies on the perfect circle to keep it crush proof. And I believe some of the parts of the hull are made out of a fiber material. I thought I read that it might have been like a carbon fiber, which would possibly make it lighter. But, has this been used before with subs? That's the question. How reliable would it be? So right now we're down to the wire. Okay. We are talking about it being 10:22 p.m. and we got this one night basically left. They're going to, according to estimates, they're going to be out of oxygen by early this morning, which would be Thursday. It's a real grave situation. The Coast Guard, I listened to their news conference today, and they are pretty tight-lipped about a lot of the specifics, what they were doing, other than they were actively searching. The question is, did they actually get this Navy sub, which in my live cast yesterday, this thing was on its way to the scene from what I could find. And the Navy sub or submersible, it's on a tether or a long tether. It's going to go down. This Navy sub's capable of going down 20,000 feet. So this sub, if the Navy can get it over there, should be able to get down to Titanic and take a look around the seafloor. Keep in mind, though, here's the problem. The seafloor down there at those depths, even when you get past, I heard like 3,000 feet, and this is, keep in mind, 12,500. At those depths, there is no light. It's total darkness. So if you have a craft down there with you're limited to the video footage on the craft being able to see through the water, and you have to have a lot of illumination, a lot of lights on the craft just to take a look around down there. There is no light. The other problem is, which we were talking about, if the bottom of the seafloor is muddy in this area, and if this thing hit the seafloor, it could have possibly sunk into it, or ocean currents may have moved it, possibly away from the actual site. Now, from what I heard, the noises they were hearing, the tapping noises, those were right over the wreck of the Titanic. So we're talking about it's possibly at the site of the Titanic still, which would be, that would narrow it down for the Navy submersible to start looking right in that area. Let's hope that's the case, because at this hour, I have not even heard if that Navy submersible, if they were able to go down and put video footage, or whether there's somebody on board that Navy submersible or just video. In other words, get a visual look down there to search for this thing. I've not heard of that happening at this hour, and I've been trying to find this out. They have other things searching near the surface and things searching under the surface, but not down at the actual wreck site. The debris field is another problem. There's pieces of Titanic debris, and they're using sonar to try to find this. That could really make this thing, like, it's so tiny, 20 feet roughly. A piece of debris could look almost like the sub when you do a sonar scan. So situation is just, it's crazy. It is just crazy. Another thing I wanted to mention, I heard that today, I heard on a radio cast that there is a way to bring stuff up. When they brought stuff up from Titanic, they were able to put some kind of a inflatable bag down there, bring it down, attach it to the items, and then somebody said they were filling it up with a liquid that would float. I guess I'm wondering why it wouldn't be air that they would fill it with, but I'm thinking what they must have to do is the pressures involved to fill it with air. It's probably something to do with that. The pressure would be so high that the structure of the bag and whatnot would have to be immense. So what they probably do is they put a bag on it, they fill it with some kind of a liquid that would float in water, and then that would probably raise the piece up very slowly. When it gets up to a certain depth where that liquid no longer, well, maybe if it floats, if you have a liquid like oil, will float on top of water. So it probably has buoyancy right up to the surface. So that's a possibility. If they locate this thing, they may be able to find it. They may be able to use that technique to raise it up to the surface, filling up a bag with a liquid. Other than that, I mean, that must be an easier way to do it, as opposed to just attaching a cable for whatever reason. I guess if the item is very heavy, like this sub or submersible, this thing weighs a lot, and to bring it up with cables probably would be That might be a problem. I gotta find out. I had the thing. Where did it say how much this thing weighed? Hmm. Yeah, they tell you how much pressure applies. I did not find the weight of it. Um, and then the other problem is the weight is going to be different because of buoyancy. If it's filled with air, even if it's a heavier craft, it should be able to almost float right up. So the problem with bringing it to the surface is going to be, it sounds like, okay, we can deductive reason this. If the thing is filled with water, the people on board are not going to be living. That's when you would have to use these bags probably to bring it up, because it wouldn't have any buoyancy. If it's still got air in it and the people are on board, you may be able to do something like use a cable. The other thing I was waiting to hear about, they said there were weights on the submersible that were going to automatically come off of the submersible after a certain number of hours in the water. The adhesive holding, I believe they're lead weights, the adhesive breaks down if it's in the water too long. And these were going to come off. And this would happen whether or not the people on board were still living. So once these weights came off, this thing was supposed to float up to the surface, ascend up on its own. I've been waiting to see if anything like that has happened. At this hour, coming up on 10:30, I haven't heard anything about that. Now, this is crucial tonight. If this thing is found on the surface, if those weights are gone, because now the weights must have been designed to come off by now, because the emergency air supply is going to run out by the morning. So what I can tell you is the guy here, Stockton, and the Ocean Gate company, they were touting something like 7 redundancies, 7 systems to get you up to the surface. And they were also touting, even if the people on board were not conscious, this thing would automatically surface after a certain amount of time. They claim they crossed their T's and dotted their I's to make this thing like an automatic safety system. And if everything went wrong that could go wrong, it would automatically go to the surface. Now we just got to see what happens in the next few hours. I'm going to scan for more news tonight, and I possibly might go back on live later tonight. And if there's any developments, that's probably the way to play this game. See if I find out more information. My problem is I was going to cast this thing on my phone, then the guy blocked me right when I'm ready to leave. I was trying to get out of a driveway where I was working on my boat, and this guy was taking advantage. The guy next door parked in my driveway and blocked me. So it's craziness. So all the stuff I heard was pretty much before before I got blocked in over there. So what I'll do is, looks like things are pretty slow in here right now. So I'll reconvene a little bit later, maybe with some more stuff, and we'll just have to stay posted on this and hope that they can do something before tomorrow morning. We just got to hope for the best here. All right, guys, I will see you later.